Welcome to CCN Midday News. I am your host, Captivating Krishna. Here are some of your top stories for today, the 22nd of May. Mitch McConnell vows to end enhanced unemployment benefits. And the U.S. has 3 months to prepare for the second wave of the COVID-19 wave, scientists say. And as Trump commands the nation to reopen, more Americans blame him for the mounting death tolls. FedEx accused of firing the black driver who recorded his encounter with a racist customer. An early release of Cohen and Manafort shows how unfair the prison system really is. ARBERY, the man who recorded the killing, arrested for murder. Louisville issues a new warrant law after police killed Breonna Taylor in her own home. And hundreds of McDonald's workers strike over the company's response to the coronavirus. Let's get to the news. Mitch McConnell promised House Republicans on Wednesday that he beefed up unemployment benefits enacted earlier this spring will not be in the next bill. The Senate Majority Leader told the House GOP minority in an afternoon phone call that he is comfortable waiting to see how the nearly $3 trillion in coronavirus spending previously approved plays out before moving forward on the next relief legislation. And he's told them to ultimately end product won't look anything like the House Democratic $3 trillion package passed last week, according to a person briefed on the call. While Mitch McConnell's concerned more aid may be necessary in the coming weeks, he has also repeated his instincts that liability reform be included in the next round of legislation to minimize lawsuits. And he said the $600 weekly boost in unemployment benefits won't continue, a vow he hadn't previously made. A group of 9 leading scientists who advised President Barack Obama has warned the U.S. has just 3 months to rebuild its stockpile of emergency medical equipment if it wants to prepare for the second wave of the coronavirus in the fall. In a 7-page report, those lead authors were the White House science advisors for both Obama's terms. The experts fault the Trump administration for failing to replenish the tragic nation's stockpile in preparation for a pandemic just like the one we're living in now. The EU coronavirus chief has also warned Europe to brace for a second wave, while another U.S. top scientist, the groundbreaking cancer and HIV researcher William Hazelton, has said countries must work to contain the disease, not count on the possibility of a vaccine being developed, which is not a slam dunk by any means. Black Americans are dying from the coronavirus at 3 times the rate of white people, according to figures compiled by the nonpartisan APM Research Lab. In certain states, the racial divide is even more stark. In Kansas, for instance, black people are dying at 7 times the rate of white people. More than 20,000 African Americans have died from the disease. That's almost 1 in 2,000 of the entire black U.S. population. Donald Trump doesn't grasp a lot of things, particularly when it comes to any human emotion that doesn't exclusively center around himself. So as Trump tweets out his demands to reopen our country and transition to greatness, he really isn't tracking the fact that the vast majority of Americans aren't running into that burning building, especially as he issues commands from the White House cocoon. The Washington Post reports that has a nice roundup of various polling, including the Quinnipiac, finding that 3/4 of voters prefer a slower reopening, including fully 50% of Republicans and 74% of independents, even if it hurts the economy. The message from voters, according to the Piac University polling analysis, reopening slowly, even if we are rolling the dice on how it will affect the economy, says 3/4 of American voters. In other words, by and large, Americans are still on the side of polarizing living over the fine dining experience they crave. Overall, Americans are largely supportive of restrictions in their area, with a full 81% saying that they are about right or don't go far enough, with 27%. In the last AP poll, on the fringe of 18% of Americans thinking restrictions in their area go too far, and the bulk of the group is made up of Republicans, 34%, and 13% independents, with 6% Democratic. So those anti-lockdown protesters continue to represent a diverse minority of the country. FedEx is denying that it fired 2 of its drivers, one from the recording with an encounter with a racist customer. The driver took to Twitter and said that he was defiantly posting the video he recorded with an angry customer, despite FedEx demanding it get taken down. The tweet claimed that he was fired from the company after the incident. However, FedEx, responding to a media inquiry sent by News1, said that the driver's account was not entirely accurate and that he remained on the payroll for now at least. FedEx takes extremely serious any allegations of discrimination, retaliation, or improper employment action. The statement said in part, these individuals are employed by an independent service provider and FedEx will be conducting a thorough investigation into their claims. While we conduct this investigation, FedEx will provide employment for these drivers. FedEx is facing major criticism after a video surfaced on.
You gonna walk? Get out here and tell me. Say it out here.
You lying like hell.
You can put it on video camera. I don't care. Come on, say it. No, you come out here and tell me again you gonna whoop me. That's what I want you to do. Put it on video camera. I want you to. You said you was gonna come. No, you don't lie.
Man, you lying like hell, bro.
Your glasses off and said you were gonna beat my ass. Come out here and do it. That's what I want you to do. 911.
Man, this dude straight lying, bro. God.
Man, you know
this man lying, bro. God, this man came out nowhere and stopped cursing, bro.
One thing I don't feel is that right there. I want you to just say what you said when I was on your grass.
This man came out and started.
You tell me to move. You're right. I didn't never say I wouldn't. I'll move off of your grass. But you didn't have to come out there cussing me like that, like I'm some child. I ain't no little boy. I'm no little boy. I'll wait till the police come.
You can record all you want, bro.
Yeah,
I got
that's
you.
Right there.
I got
that's
you,
where
bro.
your power at right there. That's your power. That's his power. That's where your power at right there. Where you going? Man, I ain't finna waste my time with you. You got my information. You got my information. They'll find me. They'll find me. You need to get your glasses back on. I thought you were waiting for the car. Yeah, I thought you were gonna whoop my ass too.
Michael Cohen is just the latest well-connected federal prisoner to be sent home early because of the coronavirus. Even though he has served only a third of his sentence, well shy of the 50% threshold federal officials often cite in denying requests for early release. By contrast, prisoners like Eddie Brown, an Oklahoma man who has served a bigger portion of his sentence than Cohen and also cites health problems, remain behind bars, raising the question about the Bureau of Prisons process and its fairness. New data shows that Cohen, along with former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, released last week, are among the relatively few federal prisoners to win early release in the last 7 weeks since Attorney General William Barr cited the pandemic in ordering more federal prisoners to be let out. During that time, the number of people in home confinement increased by only 2,578, which is about 1.5% of nearly the 171,000 people in federal prisons and halfway houses when Barr issued his memo. Cohen, who is President Donald Trump's former personal lawyer, was sentenced to 3 years in prison and Manafort to 7.5 years. Manafort has served less than a third of his sentence, so he too did not meet the federal criteria for early release, although he and Cohen do have health conditions that put them at added risk to contract the virus. Attorneys for AHMAUD's parents, S. Lee Merritt, Benjamin Crump, and L. Chris Stewart, tell TMZ that the family is relieved Bryant is been taken into custody. The legal team says that we've called for the arrest from the very beginning of this process. His involvement in the murder of Mr. Arbery was obvious to us and to many around the country. And after their investigation, it was clear to the GBI as well. Lawyers say the family's thankful for the diligence of the GBI and the way in which they have tirelessly pursued the evidence in the case. William Roddy Bryant, the man who recorded the video of Ahmaud Arbery's killing, is now the third suspect to the arrest for the young man's murder. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation just announced the arrest, saying that Bryant's been hit with charges of felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. The GBI says that the charges stem from the February 23rd incident that resulted in Arbery's death. Bryant will be booked into the Glenn County Jail. As reported, Roddy claims that he was simply a witness to the slaying and has zero involvement with what went down between Arbery and the two men previously arrested for his murder, Gregory and Travis McMichael. Bryant says that after his video leaked online that he was fearful for his life and receiving death threats. The GBI says Bryant and his video were under investigation, and he was initially named in the police report for allegedly trying to block Ahmaud during the chase while he was jogging. Bryant denied any involvement, though. Following the shooting death of 26-year-old EMT worker Breonna Taylor, the Louisville Metro Police Department will tighten restrictions on the use of the no-knock warrant, along with requiring police officers to wear body cams in more situations. Taylor was killed on the 13th of March in her apartment when the police entered without announcing themselves. Her boyfriend, a registered gun owner, shot at the officers in what he believed was self-defense. The officer fired back and Taylor was shot 8 times. Louisville's mayor announced during a press conference this week that no-knock search warrants will now need to be signed off by the police chief before they can go to a judge for approval. Officers had a no-knock search warrant approved the night they executed it at Taylor's home. According to the Washington Post, the warrant did not include Taylor's name and had been issued for a home nearly 10 miles away from the apartment complex. The officers were allegedly at the apartment looking for illegal drugs, which they did not find. Attorneys for Taylor's family also claimed the warrant was based on information officers had gathered 2 months before the raid. Taylor's family has filed a lawsuit early this month claiming wrongful death with excessive force and gross negligence on behalf of the officers. The family's attorney also calls for an end to the no-knock warrant, a case they made before the Metro Council Public Safety Committee on Wednesday. McDonald's workers in 20 cities nationwide went on strike on Wednesday, protesting against the company's response to the coronavirus pandemic and demanding guaranteed pay, sick leave, hazardous pay, and more. Hundreds of employees of the fast food giant from Los Angeles to Detroit to Miami participated in a strike, with some walking off the job and many simply not going into work, according to the organizers of the Fight for 15, a movement of fast food workers fighting for better conditions. Because of social distancing measures prevented workers from picketing outside together, some joined a virtual video call to express their concerns and demands, with several saying that they hadn't been given adequate protective gear at work and the company hadn't always noticed workers when a coworker has tested positive for the coronavirus. While McDonald's has provided 2 weeks of paid sick leave and cash bonuses to workers in its company's run stores during the pandemic, it does not guarantee such leave and benefits to workers at its independently owned franchises, which make up over 90% of its thousands of locations nationwide. McDonald's told the Huffington Post in a statement on Wednesday that its employees' safety and well-being is the top priority, and that it has issued a guide to franchisees outlining national standards for the restaurants to implement amidst the pandemic. The company says that it was confident that the vast majority of its franchisees were providing paid sick leave to employees. Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.